Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hari Bo, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Okay, I should start with Jai Radha Madhav. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha
Girivaradhari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Jaya Gopi
Gopi
Jana
Jana Vallabha
Jaya
Girivaradhari.
Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana
Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana.
Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana
Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana.
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya
Madhava
Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Jaya
Gopi
Jana
Vallabha
Vallabha
Girivaradhari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya
Hari.
Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana.
Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana.
Jamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira
Vanachari.
Jamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira
Vanachari.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare Hare, Hare
Hare.
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare.
Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai.
Jaya
Jaya
Gauranita,
Jaya
Jaya
Gauranita,
Gauranita,
Jaya
Jaya
Gauranita,
Gauranita,
Jaya
Jaya
Gauranita.
Jaya
Gauranita.
Radha Murli Manohar Radha Murli Manohar Radhe.
Jaya
Jaya
Radha Murli Manohar Radha Murli
Radhe,
Manohar Radhe.
Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Sri Radhe.
Jaya Radhe, Jaya
Jaya
Radhe,
Radhe, Jaya
Jaya Radhe,
Radhe,
Jaya
Radhe,
Radhe.
Hari
Radhe.
Bol, Hari
Hari
Bol,
Bol,
Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol.
Hari
Nitai Gaur
Bol,
Hari
Hari
Bol,
Bol,
Hari
Hari
Bol,
Bol,
Nitai
Hari
Hari
Bol,
Bol, Nitai Gaur
Jaya
Hari Bol.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya
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 Prabhupada, Prabhupada,
Prabhupada,
Prabhupada,
Prabhupada, Jaya
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 Prabhupada.
Jaya
Prabhupada.
Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya
Jaya
Gurudev,
Gurudev, Gurudev,
Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Lord Premanande, Hari Hari
Hari Hari
Bol.
Bol.
Hari Hari Bol.
Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Privajak Acharya Astotat Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki
Jai,
Grantraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Ki Jai
Jai,
Jai.
Srila Gurudev Ki Jai Lord
Jai.
Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Hari
Hari.
Hari Bol.
Welcome you all to today's Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam class. Today we are discussing chapter 5, canto 5, sorry, chapter 4, verse number 2. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam
Narayanam
Namaskritya.
Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram
Naram
Chaiva
Chaiva
Narottamam.
Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Tato Jayam Udirayet
Tato Jayam Mudirayet.
Nashtaprayesu Abhadresu
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam
Nityam
Bhagavata
Bhagavata
Sevaya.
Sevaya
Bhagavati Uttama Sloke
Bhagavati
Bhagavate
Uttama
Uttama
Shloke.
Sloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki.
Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki.
So we are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 5. That's it. The characteristics, the creative impetus. Chapter 4, the characteristics of Rishabh-Dev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And today's verse is verse number 2. This verse also doesn't seem to have any meter, but I think I worked something out. Let's see. Please repeat after me. Tasya hava itham varshmana
Tasya Havaitam Varshmana.
variyasa bruhachalokena chojasa
Variyasa Brahachalokena Chojasa.
balena sriya yasasa virya sauryavyam
Balena Shriya Yashasa Virya Shauryavyam.
Chapita vrisabha itidam nama chakara
Pita Rishabha Itidam Nama Chakara.
Tasya hava itham varshmana
Tasya Havaitam Varshmana.
variyasa bruhachalokena chojasa
Variyasa Brahachalokena Chojasa.
Lena sriya yasasa virya sauryavyam
Balena Shriya Yashasa Virya Shauryavyam.
Kapita vrisabha itidam nama chakara
Japita Rishabha Itidam Nama Chakara.
Tasya hava itham varshmana
Tasya Havaitam Varshmana.
variyasa bruhachalokena chojasa
Variyasa Brahachalokena Chojasa.
Balena sriya yasasa virya sauryavyam
Balena Shriya Yashasa Virya Shauryavyam.
Kapita vrisabha itidam nama chakara
Japita Rishabha Itidam Nama Chakara.
Tasya Havaitam Varshmana Variyasa
Tasya hava itham varshmana variyasa
Rachalokena Chojisa Balena Shriya Yasasa
Brahachalokena Chojasa. Balena Shriya Yashasa.
Virya Shaurabhayam Chapita Vishwa Itidam Nam Chakara
Virya Shauryavyam Chapitam Rishabha Itidam Nama Chakara. Tasya Havaitam Varshmana.
Tasya hava itham varshmana
Variyasa Brahachalokena Chojasa. Balena Shriya Yashasa Virya Shauryavyam.
Balena sriya yasasa
Japita Rishabha Itidam Nama Chakara.
Rishabha itidam nama chakara
Tasya Havaitam Varshmana
Tasya havaitham varshmana
Varyasya brihak shlokena kojasa.
Variyasa brihachalokena chojasa
Balena sriya yasa savriya soryabhyam.
Balena shriya yashasa virya shaurabhyam
Japita rishab itidam nama chakara.
Kapita itidam rishabhanam jakara.
Okay, we move to word. Please repeat after me. Tasya,
Tasya
of him.
of him.
Hava,
Bhava
certainly.
certainly.
Itham, thus.
Thus
Vrasmana,
Vashmana
by the bodily features.
by the bodily features.
Varyasa,
Variyasa
most exalted.
most exalted.
Bruhat Slokena,
Brihat Slokena
decorated with the high qualities described by poets.
decorated with the high qualities described by the poet.
Cha,
The
also.
also
Ojasa,
Ojasa
by prowess.
by prowess.
Balena,
Balena
by strength.
by strength.
Triya,
Priya
by beauty.
by beauty.
Yasasa,
Yashasa
by fame.
by fame.
Virya Sauryabhyam,
Virya Saurabhyam
by influence and heroism.
by influence and heroism.
Cha,
Cha
and
and
Pita,
Pita
the father, Maharaj Nabi.
Father Maharaj Nabi.
Vrishab,
Rishabh
the best.
the best.
Iti,
Iti
thus.
thus.
Idam, this.
This
Nama,
Nama
name.
name.
Kara,
Chakara
gave.
gave.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hey.
Please listen. When the son of Maharaj Nabi became visible, he evinced all good qualities described by the great poets, namely a well-built body with all the symptoms of the Godhead, prowess, strength, beauty, name, fame, influence, and enthusiasm. When the father, Maharaj Nabi, saw all these qualities, he thought that his son to be the best of human beings or the supreme being. Therefore, he gave him the name Rusam. Please repeat after me. When the son of Maharaj Nabi
When the son of Maharaj Nabi
became visible,
became visible,
he evinced all good qualities
he evinced all good qualities
described by the great poets,
described by the great poets,
namely
namely
a well-built body with the
a
symptoms of the
well-built
Godhead,
body with symptoms of Godhead,
Symptoms of the Godhead.
prowess,
prowess,
strength,
strength,
beauty,
beauty,
name,
fame,
fame, influence,
influence,
and enthusiasm.
and enthusiasm.
When the father, Maharaj Nabi,
When the father Maharaj Nabi
saw all these qualities,
saw all these qualities,
he thought his son to be the best
he thought his son to be the best
of human beings or the supreme being.
of human beings or the supreme being.
Therefore, he gave him the name Vrishab.
Therefore, he gave him the name Rishabh.
Purport. To accept someone as God or an incarnation of God, one must observe the symptoms of God in his body. All the symptoms were found in the body of Maharaj Nabi, extraordinarily powerful son. His body was well structured and he displayed all the transcendental qualities. He showed great influence and he could control his mind and senses. Consequently, he was named Vrishab, which indicates that he was the supreme living being. You are welcome to sing with me. Let's change this to Om Ajnana Mirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshur Umilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Vayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sayudpada Kamalam Sri Guru and Vaisnavansya Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadaivam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Sri Vishakhavitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Hari Priye Vanchakal Patarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhakti Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here we're seeking blessings from the Sri Gonditais, Sri Gurus and Sri Param Gurus, and also permission to speak on the topic of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from all the Vaishnavas present here for my own purification. Tasyava itham vashmanam vadiyasa brahmuchalokena chaujasa balena siya yasasa virya shauryavyam Chabita Vrisab Itidam Nama Chakara. And the son of Maharaj Nabi became visible. He evinced all good qualities described by the great poets, namely a well-built body with the all symptoms of the Godhead: prowess, strength, beauty, name, fame, influence, and enthusiasm. When the father Maharaj Nabi saw all these qualities, he thought his son to be the best of the human beings or the supreme being. Therefore, he gave him the name Vrishabha. So we have just entered a new chapter. Chapter number 5, the characteristics of Rishabdev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in last chapter, we learned that King Nabi or Maharaj Nabi and his wife Meru Devi performed great austerity and fire sacrifices to please the Lord in order to have Supreme Personality of Godhead himself as their son. So they performed this austerity so well that the Lord was pleased and appeared in front of them and asked them to ask for benediction. So King Nabi and Meru Devi, expressed their desire to have the son, to have the Supreme Lord as their son. So the Supreme Lord said, there is nobody exactly like me. That means I myself have to appear as your son. So then Supreme Lord appeared as a son of King Nabi and Meru Devi. And later he was given a name Rishabh. He was given the name Rishabh because this verse is basically a continuation of the last verse, because we discussed some of the characteristics of the Rishabdev in last verse as well. So in this verse, we are also going to be discussing some characteristics of the Rishabdev. So as per the translation given by Srila Prabhupada, that the Lord Vrishabh, they have manifested such good qualities like God. Such good qualities like it says in purport and also in translation that he had a well-built body. He had all the symptoms and symbols of Godhead. He had all the opulences like a prowess, strength, beauty, name, fame, influence, and enthusiasm. When king saw all these qualities in his son, he said that his son is to be the best amongst the human being or the supreme being. And that is why he gave his son a name, Vrishabh. Vrishabh basically means the best. But the literal meaning of the Vrishabh means also bull. It will make us wonder that why would King Nabi give his son a name like a bull, you know? But then we must understand that the bull is a best amongst the animal. Just like Rishabh was the best amongst the human being, and he was like Supreme Personality of Godhead. And therefore, he was called Vrishabh. And later, by his pious activities that nobody else can perform, he performed. And he was known as a Vrishabdev. Prabhupada ji writes in his purport that if one wants to accept someone as a god or the incarnation of the god, we must at least have three qualities. One is that he must have all the symbols, you know, and all the marks that body has, the God has. If he doesn't have these marks, then that person cannot be recognized as a god. And when we are talking about marks, we are talking about real marks, not just tattoos. Because in this age of Kalis, people like their body to be decorated with tattoos all over the place. So one must have all the real symbols that God have on his body to be able to recognize as a God. So yesterday, Her Grace Bhavamai Mataji explained these symbols very well. On the feet of the Lord alone, there are 19 symbols. And Her Grace Bhavamai Mataji explained them really well in detail, one after another. So that was very good. Thank you, Mataji. And these symbols were also found on the body of the Vrishabdev. So no doubt that Vrishabdev was also an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The second is that one must also possess all opulences. We know 6 opulences: wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. So all these were also found in Vrishabdev, as it says in the translation. Prabhupada just the Parasar Muni. The Parasar Muni, who is a grandson of Vasishtha Muni, and who is also a father of Vyasadeva, who is the father of Sukadeva Goswami. He explains in Vishnu Puran, Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yasasaha Sreya Jnana Vairagya Yosa Chaiva Sasanam Bhaga iti gana. So he also goes further and explains that Bhaga means opulence. Just like we sometimes speak Bhagavan, that comes from the word Bhaga. Similarly, Bhagwan means the owner of all opulences. That is called Bhagwan. There are nowadays so many Bhagwans. They are popping out in every street and calling themselves and claiming them to be the God. They think they are the owner of all opulences, but they're not. Someone may possess one opulence, someone may be wealthy person of the world maybe, but that wealth is even very minute in comparison to what is owned by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He created whole spiritual world and whole material world. So you cannot compare someone's wealth in this material world to that. So one has to possess all these opulences in full and permanently. Only then he can be recognized as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. Otherwise, he's not a Bhagwan. Prabhupada said if someone calling themselves to be a God, then in reality they are dog, D-O-G. They cannot be Bhagwan. Now the Bhagavad Gita also finds and tells Krishna claims as a Bhaktaram Yagana Tapsam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. So Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, that the supreme proprietor of all lokas. So he is the owner of all lokas. Like I said, all material existence and also spiritual existence. So for one to be claimed as a god, he must possess all these 6 opulences. And the third one that one must at least have is that he should be able to perform activities that God can perform. As we know, God is being God, can perform such activities that nobody else can perform. For example, activities that was performed by Lord Sri Krishna, Lord Sri Ramachandra, the famous pastimes of Lord Narsingadev, Lord Vamandev, and so on. Lord Krishna performed Govardhan Leela, very, very popular and famous pastime of Supreme Lord. At age of 7, and he lifted the Govardhan with the weakest part of his body, which is the left hand and the last finger. Krishna performed this pastime for 7 days and 7 nights. He didn't even care about the center of gravity of the Govardhan hill. He just lifted it up and very, very, easily, without putting any effort. Very effortlessly, he lifted the Govardhan hill. So Krishna, this is just one of the many pastimes that Krishna performed. These days, everybody wants to become Krishna. They want to imitate like Krishna. They want to be God. Like I said, they're popping out from every street these days. And they want to become also a Gopijana Vallabha. They want to be surrounded by all the women and all the the gopis. So Prabhupada once made a comment in his class and said, one has to first become Girivaradhari. If you are not able to lift Giri Govardhan with your last hand on your pinky, then you're not supposed to be claiming as a Krishna or as a God, and you're not supposed to desire to be a Gopijana Vallabha. Prabhupada always says you must deserve before you desire. And I was listening to a class from one Maharaj, and Maharaj said, if somebody wants to do that, just ask them to lift a little table on their last finger. Just ask them to become a tabledari first before they want to become a Girivaradhari. So the pastimes that performed by Supreme Personality of Godhead, that cannot be performed by any other entities. Only then one can claim that they are the Supreme Lord or the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are many pastimes we can see. Lord Ramchandra built a setu, the Ram Setu on the ocean. So just with some stones and some big boulders, when they were thrown into the water, they were floating on the water. If you give someone a bunch of monkeys and say, okay, can you build a little house? They can't even do that. Whereas Lord Ramchandra performed these activities that no one else can perform. He built this bridge over the ocean, and that is even without any pillars. There were not even any pillars underneath. So these are the kind of activities that nobody can perform. Lord Narasimhadev killed Hiranyakashipu with his nails. If we get our nails stuck in the door jam, it can be really painful. So then you can imagine Hiranyakashipu, how strong he was. And his stomach was ripped apart by the nails of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who incarnated as a Narasimhadev. So if you want to be claimed that he or she is a God, they have to perform and have some of these qualities, to be able to perform the qualities that nobody else can perform. Also the famous pastime of Vamandev killing Hiranyakashipu. We know how strong Hiranyakashipu was. He was the brother of Hiranyaksha. Hiranyaksha was a brother of Hiranyakashipu. Once, when Ravana wanted to have a fight with Lord Ramchandra and defeat Ramchandra, he knew that he can't do it by himself. So he went to Bali Maharaj. He went to Bali Maharaj's palace, but he could not enter. Why? Because Lord himself, is guarding the palace. When Vamandev asked Bali Maharaj to ask for the boon, Bali Maharaj said, I would like to have your darshan when I enter my palace and when I leave my palace. So the Lord became his doorkeeper. He's very merciful. So he became his doorkeeper. So every time when Bali Maharaj come in and go out, he has darshan of the Lord. So the Lord said, no, Lord denied the entry to Bali Maharaj's palace, for Ravana. So then Ravana took a very small form, and somehow or other he managed to enter. And once entered into the palace, he went to the Bali Maharaj and then requested to help him to win the battle with Lord Ramchandra. And Bali Maharaj, when heard this proposal, he laughed and he took that as a joke of the day. He said, you want to defeat Lord Ramchandra. Lord Ramchandra is an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's the incarnation of Lord Vishnu, incarnation of Lord Krishna. And you want to defeat him? He said, okay, that's fine. Let me take you somewhere. So Bali Maharaj then took Ravana to a golden mountain. So when Ravana saw this golden mountain, Ravana is always very fascinated about gold. Anywhere and everywhere he sees gold, he wants to take it to his country, Sri Lanka. So he said to Bali Maharaj, can I take this with me to Sri Lanka? Bali Maharaj said, yes, you can if you want to. So then Ravana said, okay, yes. So he started or tried to lift that mountain of gold, but he could not even move it. He tried and he tried and tried, and he was sweating like anything, but he could not even do it. So then Bali Maharaj tapped on his shoulder and said, Ravana, calm down. Do you know what this is? Ravana said, this is a mountain of gold. Bali Maharaj said, no, this is not a mountain of gold. This is an earring of Hiranyaksha. You can imagine if the earring is this big, how big Hiranyaksha's ear would be. And if the ear is that big, how big Hiranyaksha himself would be. And that Hiranyaksha was defeated by the one slap of the Varahadev. And that Varahadev is now incarnating as a Lord Ramchandra. And you want to defeat Lord? That is impossible. Something that you cannot do. So the Lord performs activities that no one else can perform. And that is, when that happens, we can recognize someone a God or the incarnations of the God. So we know that for us as a devotee, to please Supreme Personality of Godhead, we have to perform Bhakti Yoga. Why Bhakti Yoga? Because Bhakti Yoga is the best yoga process amongst all the processes. There are Jnana Yoga, there are Karma Yoga, there are Ashtanga Yoga, and there are Bhakti Yoga. Why the Bhakti Yoga is best process? Because this process, you have to surrender and serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees. And that way you basically, attain the love of Godhead. Whereas in the other processes, like a Jnana Yoga, when one attains lots of knowledge, he becomes a little egoistic. Like it said, when Maya Devi, execute his ultimate weapon, which is a false ego, and there is no other options left, Maya Devi execute this weapon. By this, Maya Devi can, let anyone down. And by having extreme knowledge, one becomes a little egoistic. They have some sort of minute or little ego even deep down their heart. The Karma Yoga is also, wants to, when perform the performance of this yoga, when one performs Karma Yoga, they want to attain and enjoy the fruits of their activities. Whereas in Bhakti Yoga, fruits of your activities are offered to Supreme Personality of Godhead. So therefore, this Karma Yoga is also not the best. And the Ashtanga Yoga, the main purpose of Ashtanga Yoga is to control your mind and body and sit in such posture so that we can, concentrate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We can concentrate on the worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But when somebody attains such good bodily postures, they don't really go as far as to perform the devotional services to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They just stop there. And they start, earning money by running yoga classes and this and that and so on. And therefore, the Bhakti Yoga process is the best process, as it described also in the Vedas. And for us to perform Bhakti Yoga properly, Prabhupada ji kindly presented Krishna Krishna consciousness to us as a science. Krishna consciousness is a science. It is a process of bhakti, but it is also a science. So when we talk about this to other people, then they cannot get this. They think, how could God consciousness be a science? It is not a science. They struggle to understand. But then when we can try to explain that in science, we have two aspects, theory and practical. So one has to learn theory first and then perform practical. Likewise, in Krishna consciousness, we have two aspects also. One is philosophy and the other is religion. Philosophy is something that is equal to theory, and religion is something that is equal to practicals. So in science, we have to learn the theory first and then go to laboratory and perform some practices. And similarly, in spirituality, we also have to learn philosophy aspect first. And then we can, put that philosophy into the practice and perform devotional services and perform bhakti yoga. Practice of devotional service, and that devotional service is called bhakti yoga. But without learning theory, what happens if someone goes straight to the laboratory and start performing practices? What is going to happen then? Nothing else. There is only going to be an explosion. If someone doesn't know what chemicals can be mixed with some other chemicals, for example, if somebody mixes the acid with some other chemical that should not be mixed with acid, then they're going to have explosion. So one must learn the theory first before they even think of performing any practicals. Just like that, if somebody does not learn philosophy of God consciousness first and perform the rituals, that person's faith will be very weak and not deep enough. And when there is a little problems comes in life, he is likely to give up spirituality. He will think that this spirituality is not going to do anything good. And then they will come out of that. We have many examples and many instances that were noted, that people do not know the philosophy fully, and then they entered into the rituals and then they fail to perform the rituals properly. So Prabhupada ji then made a nice golden statement to say, philosophy without a religion, it is just a mental speculation. So if you do not understand the philosophy, then it is just a mental speculation, and religion without philosophy is just sentiments. So we have to make sure that we learn philosophy first. So we have to understand also then what are the philosophies that we need to learn first. So if we study the scriptures, then we get to know that basically philosophy means to know who am I, our existence. Who is God? God's existence. How can you identify God? This verse is also all about how to identify God. And what is the goal of life? How do I achieve this goal? What are we doing? Why are we doing it? And whom are we doing it for? And so on. All these questions, are part of philosophy. Bhagavad Gita has answers of all these questions. And therefore, one must first read Bhagavad Gita from the bona fide source. One must first understand Bhagavad Gita and the verses of Bhagavad Gita, some key verses of Bhagavad Gita. And then he would say he can understand philosophy. And then he can accept, Supreme Personality of Godhead as a Supreme Lord. Otherwise, when one starts, performing all the ritualistic activities, not knowing the real philosophy, they are likely to accept anybody and everybody as a god. They are likely to accept anybody and everybody as a guru. And therefore, there are so many bogus and pseudo gurus are there. And they are doing well in terms of earning the wealth from these people. Because they don't have proper knowledge and they don't know how to identify the God, how to identify the bona fide guru, because they don't really, associate with the devotee and gain the message of Bhagavad Gita. So one must understand and read the Bhagavad Gita first. Therefore, Prabhupada summarized and narrated this Bhagavad Gita very nicely and very much in detail, so that we can understand the philosophy and then we can perform the ritualistic activities. One of the major problems we have in this age of Kali, that there are gods popping up everywhere. A lot of people just claim themselves to be God just by having a little bit of advancement. They think they become God. And not knowing how to identify God, people are just accepting anybody and everybody as a God. So there are 5 subject matters that are discussed in Bhagavad Gita. Mainly Iswara, Jiva, Prakriti, Karma, and time. If one puts a little bit of effort and understands these 5 subject matters of Bhagavad Gita, he or she would be easily able to recognize and identify the real God, the incarnation of the God, and also bona fide gurus. When one does not do that, when one does not read Bhagavad Gita, understand Bhagavad Gita, then they are likely to be misled. So that is why it is very, very important for one to read Bhagavad Gita and also study Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and that way one can understand the philosophy better, and then they can serve the Bhakti Yoga, they can perform the Bhakti Yoga better. So people come to temple to take a darshan. They come to take a darshan and then they leave, because they don't understand this philosophy and the existence and the supremacy of the Lord and his devotees. So they come to temple, take a darshan and leave. But the darshan has 2 meanings. One is to take a darshan of the Lord by eyes, and the second is to have darshan of the Lord by ears. Therefore, we discussed in past that the pure devotee of the Lord sees the God with their ears. So we have to make sure that we don't just look at the deities of the Lord and pay our obeisance and walk away. We need to sit in the temple and listen to the philosophy. First, we have to darshan of the Lord with our eyes, and then we have to listen to the philosophy, so that way we can have the darshan of the Lord with our ears. If we don't have a darshan of the Lord with eyes, it is a loss, because the Lord's face is, like a lotus flower. It removes all the miseries and it leads us to the right path. But then, if one does not have a darshan of the Lord with their ears, it is a big loss. It is a bigger loss, because without knowing the prowess and the supremacy of the Lord, how can you worship the Lord properly? Even in this material world, you want to buy a new phone, you need to know all the features, to be able to use it properly. Just like that, if you don't know the philosophy and the prowess and the supremacy of the Supreme Lord, one is not able to perform Bhakti Yoga properly. It will just be a ritualistic activities and nothing else. Attending Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam class every morning is also like having a darshan of the Lord with your ears. It is very important that we all listen to the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam class in the morning. Some of us listen to the recording due to the other commitments, which is also fine. But if we are able to attend the live class in the morning, that's even better. Hearing is more important and powerful. And that is why it is the best of the 9 processes of bhakti. Sravanam Kirtanam. Prahlad Maharaj taught us this 9 processes of bhakti. So the hearing is very important, and that is why Prabhupada also said, when we even chant our rounds, we're supposed to chant our rounds loud enough so that we ourselves can hear it. So that way we can employ all our senses when we perform Harinam Sankirtan Mahayagna. So we have to make sure that we perform this Harinam Sankirtan Mahayagna loudly enough so that we can hear it ourselves. And also our Guru Maharaj mentioned that it needs to be, or it has to be done, or it should be done early hours of morning, to attain the best of the benefits of your chantings. So the chanting is also very important. And this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us this Harinam Sankirtan Mahayagna to deliver us all suffering souls. So when this little Nimai was born to Sachi Devi and Jagannath Mishra, there were specific symbols found on his body also. Because as we know, he is also an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when Mother Sachi saw these symbols, he called out to his father, Nilambara Chakravarti, who was a great astrologer and also a scholar. So she called out to his father to see what is going on. So the father of Sachi Devi came and he looked at the birth chart of the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the little Nimai, and then he said that this child has all the marks on his body that Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna has. And therefore, his marks are being suggesting that he is a divine personality. He's not just an ordinary person. And later we know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu established this Harinam Sankirtan Mahayagna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us the humility. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us how to be humble. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us the process of bhakti. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu successfully performed Harinam Sankirtan Mahayagna himself to set an example for us so that we can get out of this birth, death, old age, and disease, the vicious cycle. Janma Mrityu Jaravadi. So we have to make sure that we perform. It is also stated in, is it Katha Upanishad? Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam Eva Kevalam, Kalova Nasteva, 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 Gatir Anyatha. So in this age of Kali, the name of the Lord is the only way of deliverance. It is said that in Sanskrit, if the word is repeated 3 times, it is very prominent. And in this verse, it says, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam. That means name of the Lord, name of the Lord, name of the Lord. And it says, Gatir Anyatha, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam. And that means, there is no other means, there is no other means, there is no other means of deliverance. So we have to follow this process of chanting the holy name of the Lord to go back to Godhead. So as we know, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu incarnated as a devotee of the Lord, and he was a combination of Lord Krishna and Radharani, and he taught us how to properly chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, so that we can get out of this vicious cycle, birth, death, old age, and disease in this very life. So with this, like I said, this is a continuation of the last verse, and so many symptoms of the Lord was discussed yesterday, and then this is just a continuation, and we'll have a few more verses coming up that are also a continuation of the first verse. So with that note, I'd like to conclude my class here today. If you have any questions, corrections, comments, realizations, please go ahead and share.
Hare Krishna, Janardan Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvat Pranam.
Danvat Pranam to Ji. Thank you very much for such a wonderful class. And I don't have any question. It's you have really explained everything nicely. And by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Acharyas, we are able to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead through hearing and reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and the literature, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and seeing that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we are all the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so we are very fortunate to have all this literature and reading and hearing and association of these devotees. The main thing which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said is chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we are very fortunate, and if we chant this mantra, and of course, Srila Prabhupada said chanting loudly and hearing, and that is the main thing which we can do to achieve the ultimate goal of life. That's Krishna Prema. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, again. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. Okay, so if there's no other questions, comments, or corrections, we can conclude our class here today. Vancha kalvatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavabhyo namo namah. Ananta koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gurudev ki jai. Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
His Grace Janardan Das Prabhuji ki jai.
Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhu.